welcome back to the Inspiration Station where stories spark action. I'm your host, Mr. U. If you're watching and listening for the very first time, thanks for making us part of your week. We're live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Thanks again for being a part of this journey that we're on, and thanks for making us part of your world today. In studio with us, we have a fantastic guest, Marine veteran, keynote speaker, and author of the book, The Strength Within You is Always Too Soon to Quit. Jay Setchell is with us today. Jay, good to see you, man. How are you, man?
I'm doing good, Mr. U. Glad to be here, sir.
Same here, sir. There's so many things I want to get into with the time that we have, so I'll just go ahead and cut right into it. There's one thing that you and I have in common. We have multiple bouts or near-death experiences, if you will. And those things they tend to shake you in ways that it's kind of hard to explain and put into words, because almost, this is the way I see it. Maybe you don't, hopefully you agree, but it's almost like you are touching another world, but still
are touching,
but still being in yours. And I know it's physical and spiritual. I don't want to get too deep with this, but that's kind of where I feel like that is what happens to you. How would you say, Jay, is one significant way that because of those experiences, it changed the way you see the space that you're in and the work that you're doing right now?
I think for me, over time, and the multiple times it happened, it's more given me it's given me more of a perspective on life and time and how fast time goes and how people feel it isn't moving, but it is, and it's moving at the same speed all the time. But where your life is and the importance of life and what you can offer life and what life can offer you. So but people don't realize it. It's like when you're 30, or when you're 15, you never think you're going to make it to 30 or 25. Yeah. It's a million miles away. And before you know it, you're 40. And you're looking back going, oh my God, I was just 15 the other day, worried about being 25.
What happened?
Yeah. And it truly is. And I think that the experience of when I've been out of my body and gone, time doesn't move, but it is moving. That's the key. This is what we just talked about, and that's where, when people don't want to, when they think it's going to be a hard job to move ahead or do something, Mr. U, if they remember, every second becomes a minute, every minute becomes an hour, and if you just give yourself 5 more minutes, pretty soon oh my gosh, that was an hour ago. I got to hurry up and get going. And then you realize how fast. So I think time and life have been probably and just the importance of being able to help other people. I think it just all kind of ties in together and help people realize that as you get older, anyhow, that you don't have that time you think you have.
That part.
And you can be very serious about it, because at your age now, you can be more serious about how fast time goes, and to your children, your grandchildren, and so on and so forth. And you now realize it where you didn't when you were 25 or 30. And all of a sudden, time, where did it go?
Yeah. I mean, you endured so many things, man. I mean, we already highlighted it, multiple near-death experiences, paralysis. You had 73 surgeries, which is like, wow. There's some people who I've heard stories that are similar to, not exactly the same. Of course, you're very unique in that regard, but I've heard stories like this. And I usually see two different kinds of people from stories like this. One, people who are just in survival mode. They got so much, they might call it bad juju, they might call it bad luck, all kinds of things. And they stay in the mode, I'm trying to just make it to the next day. I don't even have a long-term plan.
Right.
And then there's some people who are like, you know what? They're redefining themselves through the midst of this crucible that they're in through all this tragedy and hardship. And they begin to start taking responsibility. Like I think you just kind of highlighted just now, taking responsibility for the life you've been given. and begin to start living it out with purpose and seeing how much it's little about you. It's always about a bigger picture. Have you been able to start seeing yourself being redefined in that way? Because it sounds like you kind of in that place. Is that what I'm
I,
hearing?
I've felt that way since probably when I was young. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
even before, because I realized that, when you're raised on a large working farm, you've got, let's just say, cattle. You raise them, one week or 1 month they're 100 pounds. The next 3 months later they're 600 pounds. 3 months later they're 900 pounds, and they're going to market. So you've got a complete cycle change. Or crops, when you plant a seed this big, when the ground warms up in the spring, and that seed in 3 months is now tasseling out corn, you know, and pretty soon it's uh, 12, 13, 14 feet tall, and each stalk has 3 years on it, and you got 600 kernels of corn or 700 kernels of corn from one kernel. So you get to see time. And so I think throughout that, and to, back more directly to your question, is that I think the Marine Corps just pounded into my hard head more of what I learned growing up. And it it makes you realize, I mean, by far, that the world is a bigger place, and it's more important than just you.
Yeah.
It's just there's more out there, and you can have a great deal of significance on helping people, working with people. Um, and and I think that's what God's got us here for. I really do. I think that God's got us here to help other people. I
Yeah.
don't care if it's somebody, your neighbor, or somebody. I've had several podcasts with gentlemen out of Nigeria that I have a hard time understanding,
Yeah.
from the dialect, but they're trying. They're working at it. They're trying to better themselves and others with them. And so other people don't want to take, say, those podcasts, because it's hard to understand. I just say, oh,
So,
excuse me, I didn't pick up quite exactly what you were asking. And we get through it. So I think that, yeah, I think that in every day brings more. I am grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to be, I don't care if I'm paralyzed like I am. It's just, I mean, my left hand works pretty good. My wrist is fused and all that crap. But I, I'm grateful to be here, because
yeah.
I should have been
Yeah.
gone for over half a century, multiple times.
That
So
makes a lot of sense.
I never look at this woe is me, and oh gosh, tomorrow's another day, or no, I thank God when I go to bed at night, and I say a little prayer, and when I get up in the morning, I'm in a lot of pain. I drag my legs over and get them onto my scooter so I can get out of bed with my railing, and and I know I'm alive because I'm hurting. And that's okay. It's okay, because I know it's not going to go away. I've had it for decades, and 15 back surgeries. That doesn't help a lot, so it just keep moving forward, keep moving forward, never quit, never quit.
There's a point in this where it seems like there's a level of sustained suffering, if you will, and you have a belief system. And you talk about it all the time. 10 words that you just live by. If it is to be, it is up to me.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Did that ever in this journey of dealing with the physical issues and the pain? Did that ever break it all for you? That belief system, or did it ever fall back, or did it kind of evolve into something beyond what you expected?
It never broke, Mr. U. It never broke.
Okay.
If anything, it makes me harder. It makes me more stubborn. It evolves into just more. It's when I started being a podcast guest, and I look back at the first two or three I did, even though the folks that did the interviews are well known, they thought it was great. I look back and I see where I've grown how I've grown being after I've been asked questions like you're asking, or a lady that was a commander and she's a chaplain in the Navy and she's in Italy, or a gentleman that's in Korea in the Air Force and he's doing this part time. And it just doesn't matter where in the world. It's the questions that are asked that make you think back into your life. Really, what really changed? What it just makes you think about things more. But I think it evolves. To me, it's made me stronger because I'm never going to say no. I'm never going to stop. I know I'm not. I'll die before I stop. I don't care. And when people say, "How can you say that?" It's because I've already been dead. They've gotten me back. But there's 4 other times that I should have been that I didn't quite get there. Those are the ones you're talking about that I was like, they sent my wife home and said, "Hey, go home, make funeral arrangements because we don't
Mm.
expect her to make it." But the other times, and you really got to be thankful. I mean, I am. I'm grateful to be able to sit here and talk with you, for example, and just if this has any impact as somebody is, if it is to be, it is up to me. When you're going through therapy, you can get, or whether we talked about football briefly, that's great. But it's up to that individual. It was up to LT to go out and continue to keep that mindset, to keep pounding, to keep working, to never quit. And a lot of people don't understand that. It's like the greatest basketball players, golfers, it doesn't matter that have ever been. What do they do in their spare time? They play, they practice, they work at it.
Yes.
And that's what you have to do in life to move ahead. Whatever your chosen direction is, what can you do to better yourself? But a lot of people think that they're good enough. I really do believe that they don't have to improve themselves.
Mm.
Like it's organic, it's just going to happen. But if you reach out and search, I think you just do better.
Yeah, makes sense. I know you know everything that's going on in your book because you wrote it, and you know what your intent was and what you want readers to gain. Was there a part, either in the book or in your story, that was kind of an aha moment for you personally, where it was like, "Wow, I can't believe this happened," or "I'm surprised by this"? Did you have a moment like that, either in the story or something you highlighted in the book for yourself?
I don't believe so, but if there was
Okay.
one, if there was anything like that, it was like, holy crap, I've been through a hell of a lot. Like, how did I do this? And like you said, the intent is to share and let people know that inside themselves, they carry a strength, whether that's from family, faith, DNA, their experiences in life, their irritation, frustration, aggravation, their pain. It doesn't matter what. They have strengths within them that they can reach back and draw from to help them through that next obstacle or that next roadblock or detour. And and make it and know that, hey, there is more out here. There is more out there, and there's better things to do, and uh, maybe not better but more, and it is what you make it. If you believe something to be true, well, there's the old thing, you've heard that, if you believe something to be true or something not to be true, you're right. And and it's like but there again, the therapist, whether the therapists are working with you, it's still up to you to keep pushing. And when I had my neck broken, I mean, I was an overachiever to begin with, and then they were worried because I never rested in between the therapy sessions. I kept pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and they had a problem with that. But I was never supposed to move from the shoulders down. And I walked out of there many, many months later, not well. And I still had the halo cast bolted in my skull. I had leg braces on, I had crutches on, but I walked. I didn't have a goal to run or run the hurdles, just to walk.
Just to walk. That's good, man. I think we got time for a couple more questions.
Yes, sir.
When you experience what you have, because I mean, for me, just things that are not even on the level of what you dealt with, I get a different sense of time, different sense of purpose. Do you personally feel like you have, because of what you experienced, do you feel like you have more time, or do you feel like you have less time? Or is it somewhere in between? How do you feel based on what you experienced and the perspective you have now? You feel like you have more time or less time?
I Since I should have stayed dead when I was 19 for sure, I'm blessed with more time. But at the
Okay.
same time, as you get older and time keeps moving faster, as you realize, it's like getting to be less. And I don't think I've said before, I don't think people have a bearing, Mr. Yu, on the value of time in
Yeah,
life
that's good.
until they have experienced death or a near death experience that really stays with them for decades, and they can't let it go. It happened. It's there. And I think that impresses your value of time and what you need to do with it and how you help others and how you reach out to your grandmother, or you reach out to your children, or you reach out to your neighbor. And when I was younger, we all had a larger community. You knew who your neighbors were.
Yeah,
You played with them. That's gone. It's, we're in a microwave society, I call it, and everybody wants things to move fast. They want it now, but they forget that when you work for something and you've achieved something, it's far sweeter having accomplished it than when it's just given to you or it comes easy. So I think that if you've been where you've really been concerned that you're not going to make it, it gives you a different value of time. It has a different value. I guess that's a good word to put.
yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. Final question for you, Jay. First off, thanks again for making us part of your day and your week and for being on our show. I definitely appreciate that, man. One final question for you. If you don't
Yes,
mind
sir.
speaking to our listeners and our viewers, speak especially to the man who feels like his circumstances have kind of robbed him of control, whether that's true or not or imagined, but that's how they feel. Speak to them about where the real responsibility lies in a practical sense. What do they do, even if it's not exactly what you did? What can they do to walk in real responsibility in a practical way? Help them with that today.
Just realize that responsibility lies with you. You have to realize that you are the one, you're the man. You're the one that you've made that decision. We all have choices. A choice is whether you want to drink coffee or whether you're going to drink tea, for example. Now, the decision is which one you choose. So we're a product of the choices we have and the decisions we make. And you just can't quit. You can't quit. It's always too soon to give up. You just can't quit. You can never do that. You just can't stop. And realize that you're in charge of your own destiny, and God's with you. I believe that with all my heart because I've experienced it. So, but it's up to you. It's up to that individual. It's not up to the guy down the street, not up to the woman over here. It's not up to the person who lives above you or wherever. It's up to you. Take charge. Do it. Do it now. Do it completely. Follow through and move on. Have a plan. Have a vision. And it can be dream big, but take small steps. Because when you take small steps, if you falter, you can correct it quickly. If you take big steps and you falter, you land on your face. So dream big, take small steps, never quit trying, and it's up to you. Do it.
Thank you. That's really good, man. You guys that are watching, Jay's website is on the screen, neverquittrying.com. Of course, it's neverquittrying.com for those that are listening and not watching us. And of course, the Amazon link for his book, Strength Within You is Always Too Soon to Quit by Jay Setchell. It's also on the screen. It's also going to be in your show notes. Thanks again for watching and listening to The Inspiration Station, where stories spark action. I'm positive that Jay's story sparked action in you. Definitely did in me. Have a great day. Thanks for watching The Inspiration Station.